Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the Back Office Teardown Lab again. Famicoms galore, and excuse the mess of course, but this is the Famicom that I repaired in a previous video and everything about it was pretty cool. But if you remember from that video, there was something that was a bit weird. Now if I put the volume up on the TV that this is currently plugged into, it's got Mario 3 running, you will hear something. Yes, and that's kind of this hum. I put the volume nice and loud so you can hear it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this controller around whilst the TV's unmuted and listen to what happens. Yeah, so you can hear this is acting as some sort of antenna. So we don't want that. And when I put the volume up and shout in it, it does sound very awful. I mean, it never sounds particularly good. So my good friend Simon Locke, which is Egan on Twitter, said that if you open this up, you should be able to repair it. So if you remember last time, we did spray a bit of contact cleaner in there, but to be honest, it was a bit of a half-hearted attempt. But apparently inside here, there is an electrolytic capacitor that we can change. And we can get in there and clean up those contacts good and proper. And apparently the combination of both of those will restore this controller into its former glory. So that's very exciting. So you can see I'm just jumping straight in and taking these screws out, and they are absolutely firm. I mean, that's something I've noticed a lot with old Famicom controllers, is that it's almost impossible to get these darn screws out. And if you have to do it a few times because you're trying to, work on an issue with a controller, you really do start getting sick of this pretty quickly. However, I guess they were tight, but not too bad. We've got them out. Oop, and I'm just going to make the effort of catching them all. So yeah, it looks like there is a little condenser microphone in there. Interestingly, let's see what we can see. Let's zoom in. Bang. So I'm not seeing a capacitor, not on this side at least anyway, but let's just undo this a bit more. Oh, there is an electrolytic capacitor. So the two things that are most likely to cause issue in this circuit, of course, are that capacitor and this slide contact. And that slide contact, of course, marries up with that, and it's basically a variable resistor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel off this. I mean, it's a good time if you want to clean these up. However, I am a little bit of that view that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I have knackered controllers by unnecessary cleaning. I'm looking at these interesting things. If you want to know what these are basically like jumpers, if I'm not mistaken, and they're using carbon print for that. And then the IC on here is generally involved with multiplexing the signal, but it does make me wonder when I see this electrolytic. Is there a little amplifier or something like that? Because you probably need a bias for this microphone to give it a bit of amplification. But anyway, I digest. So we're talking here a 0.33 microfarad capacitor. So I'm going to desolder that. I'm kind of confident we're going to replace it with something of similar value, hopefully. But I am going to bring that out there. I wonder if that's part of the circuitry actually to get power to the microphone. Normally, if it's something for filtering, you wouldn't expect it to be electrolytic. And while the soldering iron is actually warming up, it's a good time to get your contact cleaner. Oh, fast drying. We're going with a fast drying today. And I'm just going to give it a little squeeze here. Now, Simon did say to rub it over with a fiberglass pencil, and I don't know, I'm a little bit hesitant to do that. I don't think I will, just because I wish I zoomed in while I was doing it. That seemed to make a massive difference in terms of cleaning it up. In fact, I'm going to do it on these other pads so you can see hopefully that it does make a difference. Or maybe he was referring to the actual slide mechanism. I think that probably is what he was referring to. So yeah, I'm going to clean this up in the regular way. Look, there's actually Nintendo solder spatter here. Get rid of that solder spatter. So that's nice and clean. And I will clean these up in a minute. But the bit that I think he was really referring to is the bit here. Just take out. And that does look like you could be a little bit more aggressive with the cleaning on that, which I will do in a moment. Right, soldering iron is going to be nice and hot, so let's just whip out the electrolytic and then go have a look in our box of spares. And when I say box of spares, of course, what I am referring to, of course, is my old power supplies. My box of old PZ power supplies, because they do tend to have lots of good stuff like that. But do note the polarity, by the way. It's negative on the left-hand side, and fortunately there is a little minus sign written on there, but I'm actually quite amazed at myself for paying that much attention. Normally I don't, and I'll whip it off and then go, oh yeah, what was it? And then have to review video footage, so that's nice and clean now as well. Before I do anything, you might be able to hear this. So this is on now, listen to this. So clearly that is an amplified input. I couldn't quite find a 0.33 microfarad, however, I did find a 220. It's a bit of a fat boy, but I reckon it'll fit. I'm just gonna fit it anyway, and we'll see if it works or not. So I've bent the legs strategically, you can see there, so it should have a chance of hooking in there. It does look like there's loads of room in the case. I'm quite confident of this. I think it will go in, even though it's got this rather strange geometry to help it fit in that case. So I'm going to have to use a lot of hands here, more hands than I've got. So I'm just going, oh, it's sat nicely, look at that, it's sitting quite nicely. So if I can tack that one in, yes, I can put that down. And let's touch that other leg. It's going to have so much capacitance. The more capacitance, the better, really, isn't it? I don't know if that's true, by the way, I'm just making that up. So I actually have turned on the console. Ooh, interesting. So that's the sound. So let's give you a... So you can hear all sorts of crazy noises when I'm acting as an antenna, so I'm hoping this will do a better job. So let's give this a little bit of a wipe. So I'm going to spray this away from everything. Let's turn off that. I'm just going to give it a little rub. Oh, that really shined up instantly on the first rub there, so it probably was coated with a bit of gunk. And I can't find my fiberglass pencil, so I'm just going to give it a manicure with this needle file. And you might just be able to see, especially if I zoom in a bit, that looked nice and shiny on the end. And I'm just going to do something I'll probably regret, which is just tension it a little bit more. So it's a bit of tension. I think it's okay. I don't know if you're feeling tension watching me tension it. Pop it in the right way. There is a detent. So you see there's a little detent spring. Put that the right way around. And there's a nice little cover as well. Stop filth getting in there. So I will be rather pleased if this does work. If it doesn't, I don't know, I probably will still be happy enough. Let's get that microphone in. Ah, look. No. I can't squish it down hard enough with that capacitor, so I probably will have to find a better one. But let's flip it around. I'm just curious to see if it's resolved the issue though. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to put the game on. What I'm going to do is put the game on at a normal volume. See, that sounds great. Hello! Hello! I think it might just work, you know. So that seems alright. I had to end up using a surface mount. That was the best thing I could find, and I think it will do the job if it fits. Let's hope it does. Just going to do a quick test. If not, I think I'll have to actually order something. But no, that's fitting a-okay. Right, I think it's time to just put it all back together. So I think it's working. I mean, I'm getting a slight bit of noise there, and of course, I didn't use quite the right capacitor, but I think it seems fine. I did end up using a value that was not quite right, so I think it has affected it a bit. It certainly, when I put it into the quiet mode, you can hear it almost click into being quiet, which is great. But there's still noise. I think it's just part of this design. This whole bit, though, is like a low-level input into a high-gain amplifier that's in here and will always have a little bit of antenna action going on, unless it's completely, I guess, shorted out or pulled hard to ground. But then you don't want it to pick up any AC at all. So if you really want to get rid of it, I suppose you could remove some of the capacitors in here or connections from here into the internal amplification. Try to just do that tweak. But I'm actually pretty happy, because if you compare it now to what it was, it's virtually silent, and as I move it near the monitor and mess around, it's not making any of those sounds it was doing before. So thank you a lot, Simon. That's great. I think I can now put this on the shelf of shame and forget it ever exists. As ever, thank you for watching. By the way, this is the other unit with the working one, and yeah, I can definitely hear it's noisier off the bat, but especially if you turn it up, because then you get to hear this noise. It's fantastic. I can do the Pole's voice. Yeah. Get rid of it. If you didn't need it on a NES in the UK, or I don't think you need it. I would just get rid of the mic. Bye-bye.